So today, I will host the startup launchpad for Augmented World Expo 2014. We will have 5 startups. They will present during 5 minutes their product and their company in front of a judging panel. Then the judges will ask them a few questions. And tonight, at 4 p.m. here, the winner will be awarded an Auggie Award. So as the judges, we have here Sean White, David Wood, and Eddie Bakhash. And I will let them introduce themselves.
Right. Hi, my name is Sean White. I'm an entrepreneur in residence at Greylock Partners up on Sand Hill Road, not far from here. My background is in augmented reality. That's where I did my dissertation work. I spoke a little earlier on. I'm also teaching over at Stanford, again, focused on wearables and augmented reality.
Hi, I'm David Wood. Currently, I chair London Futurists. In a past life, I was one of the co-founders of Symbian, one of the initial smartphone operating system companies. And for quite a number of years, I was responsible for the developer ecosystem there. I remember vividly in 2002, there was a phone that you could look through the screen and you could see a combination of the real world and mosquitoes generated that were flying around, and you had to point this phone at the mosquitoes and kill them. And that was a fascinating glimpse into what has now become this conference.
Excellent. Hi, my name is Eddie Bakhash. I'm an angel investor, and I have investments in the e-commerce space and the browser market and graphical user interfaces.
Okay, so Anush Elangovan, CEO of Node Labs, will be presenting now.
Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. So I just want to take a little time talking about computing revolutions, right? So if you take a step back and look at how computing has evolved, there's always been a computing revolution around input. And so when you look back in the 40s, it was something where we had plug panels and dip switches to control your computer, right? And there were some lights that flashed, and then you said, oh, yeah, that means something, right? And so that triggered one wave of computing. The next one was, I'll skip a few decades, but then the big one was the personal computer revolution, which was triggered around a mouse and a WYSIWYG interface, right? So, and that lasted for like a good 20, 30 years. And then capacitive touch came along to kind of trigger this whole mobile revolution that we are currently experiencing. And what is next? What's next with augmented reality and wearable computing? When these two kind of like come together, what is going to be this this input method that triggers the next revolution of computing, right? And speech is something that definitely works well in certain areas. You're definitely not going to walk into a Starbucks or a coffee shop and compose an email or to your attorney or your girlfriend. It works in an isolated space. In a shared medium, it's not as effective. And carrying a keyboard around or something else isn't as effective either, or it's a big problem. So given all of this, what we think, or what we believe at Node Labs is gestural control is what is going to be the next revolution. And gestural control for simple gimmicky gestures has been done quite a bit. So what we want to do is take it to the next level and be able to fully express yourself. To that effect, we've been able to build a device that you can actually enter text also. So you can just point to your screen, use some gestures, be able to type text into a Mac or PC or your TV for that matter. That from there, everything else becomes easier, right? Because it's gestures to do other things, control your lights, control your thermostat. So with that said, I'm just going to show you, we're going to roll a video of the product that we've built, and then I'll take some questions. that video was shot with live controlling all those things that you see, everything from Google Earth to your lights and thermostat. We didn't show the thermostat, but what we didn't show there was integration with Google Glass. So you can have Google Glass be directly paired to your glass, and you can pinpoint every pixel on Google Glass or any other head-mounted display for that matter, and you can actually interact with it. So you can, our SDK, I think we pushed it out today or yesterday, the Glass SDK. So you can just download it, and there's an app and an emulator too, since right now we are still in pre-production units. We'll be shipping later this fall, and until then, you can use an iPhone to emulate a nod and interact with your head-mounted display or Google Glass and be able to control not just two-dimensional gestures, but also three-dimensional gestures. So keep an eye out on our website, on our developer blog. We just updated something which had CAD modeling in 3 dimensions. So thanks for the time, and if there are any questions, I can answer that.
Looks really impressive. The first thing that comes to mind is a company called Prime Sense. That seems like it's going to be pretty stiff competition. So that's my first question. My second question is integration and taking the technology that you've built and actually as an OEM or a third party utilizing it in your application. How difficult or easy is that?
Yeah. So to the first question, PrimeSense now is Apple, right? $320 million later, but they're focused on camera-based, capture, and I'm going to bucket all the camera solutions in one. It's awesome because you don't have anything on you, but it's also an invisible box that you're working in. So whether it's a short-range camera where you're doing this, or whether it's a long-range camera with Kinect, you're doing this, right? But you're in a particular field of view to the camera. What we're doing is it's equivalent to moving from a computer to a mobile device. We are making that and moving it to the human body. So the human body is the input device through the day, right? You can wear this all day, and I can do anything from listening to music, changing my computer, my TV channels, or interacting with my computer, or presenting too. So the second question about integration, we have an open SDK that we've already been working with a lot of partners. In fact, we have so much partner interest that we can't take on partners. But we've made the API public, and it's available for download. And you can also build, we have an emulator, so both ends of the API are available, of the protocol. And we provide iOS, Android, and we're soon going to add a Mac API too.
So you've given a good differentiation from products that use cameras to track the gestures. But what about the Mio, the one that people wear on their arms?
Yes.
And how is your system actually powered? I mean, with such a small thing, you wouldn't imagine it's going to have much of a battery life.
Yes. So I'll answer the second question first. We're powered with a custom battery that's in here, and it's a 23 milliamp hour battery. In a day where cell phones are like 2,500 milliamp hours, we have our own custom operating system that runs on it, which is very power efficient, and we can get a day's use, which includes typing and interacting with your devices. So we're very power efficient. In 3.5 milliseconds, if you have something that we're not using, we go to deep sleep. And that was one of the reasons why we had to write our own operating system. To the other question about having an armband versus this, I'm going to leave the choice as to whether, if both are kept on the table, and which one are you going to pick. But the most dexterous part of your body is your index finger, and that's what we're trying to get, right? So that's how we get you to get text input.
I have a couple of questions. I'll start with one. So I get the product idea, and it looks like you've executed on it, although I have some questions about battery life and what happens when you actually do the full DFM and it's in production.
Oh, it's DFM done right now. So we are waiting for the CMs to...
Yeah. So I think that's interesting, but I guess the question about that I have is, so I get why this is a good product, but why is it a good business? And what I mean by that is, so you're going to make this, right? And there are a bunch of other companies that are sort of exploring rings and things like this. What is this all that your business does? Is it makes that object, or is there something else that you're going to do? Is there a larger vision for that?
So I'd actually approach it from another perspective. We started with a vision rather than with a business. We think we need to decouple display, compute, and input, and move input to the human body. And display and compute, display can be that, or a Google Glass, or your watch, and compute can be on the cloud, local, but input needs to be the human body. We started with that. If you looked at our prototypes last year, it was a big thing which we knew was never going to be a glove, but some exoskeleton thing, right, that's going to help you interact. That was the broader vision. In a year, we've shrunk it to this, but even this it's highly complex. It's 80 different components that are squeezed into this, 2 CPUs. But I can go on about the technology part, but the idea is that we're driven by the vision to kind of solve the problem of how the barrier from humans to machines or your environment is it's smoothed out, right? So it's a problem that's going to last 50 years from now. We're still going to try and make it even better. How we're going to predict how how humans are going to interact. So to answer your question about the business right now in the short term as to what we're going to sell, yes, we're going to sell this. Tomorrow or next year, maybe it's not this. It's going to be a wedding band, or maybe it'll disappear. But we'll still be solving the bigger vision problem, which is humans and machines interacting.
I have another question. When you think of starting a company and a startup and your initial product and the target market and how difficult it is to create a product and have success with a discontinuous innovation like this, who is your early target market? What pain point are you answering that's going to take a small group of passionate customers and bring you to mass market? Right. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
And
so,
who is that group?
Yeah. So it's a very good question, and I get asked that a lot of times. And based on who's asking it, I answer differently, and I'll tell you why. Because it's the same product that I'm going to sell to the office, demographic, right? So PowerPoint. How many times do you have to? Like I'm here, and if I want to bring up a laser pointer and I want to highlight something, I can use a clicker or something like that and a laser pointer. But now with just one button, I can get a pointer that shows up, and press another button, it's gone. I press another button, it shows up in grid view, and I can slide through whatever I want there and select that, right? So for presentations alone, we've got a lot of interest from presidents of large companies that when they are giving their keynote, they just want something to say, hey, press this and something should happen. Or they want something more than a laser pointer and something more where they can express themselves a little more, and the computer actually gets it 100% of the time, right? And that's one. Then the second one would be in your living room, right? You have so many remotes. I mean, it's like every house I go to, there's people try a universal remote, but then after some time, they're like, OK, I need to program the universal remote to understand what the other thing is, and then that just gets complicated. Or they have 4 remotes, and you always take the wrong remote, and you're trying to play around with it. One of the things that we are working on is trying to soothe that out in terms of being able to interact with the device that you want to in your living room situation. That involves directionality too. So part of the protocol that we are writing and pushing out is it's not just that, hey, there's a device that you can control. You can control a multitude of devices. And what device you're controlling is important. And the smartness that goes into it is part of what we do too. And we haven't talked about that too much, but as the time approaches to talk about that, we will.
So 2 other questions. Have you been wearing that all day? Did you take it off at all today?
Yes, I've been wearing it since like 9, I think. Yeah.
Right. It's comfortable. It's good.
Yeah. So we've like. The inner metal ring has been like contoured so that it feels like a ring, and yeah.
And the other question is, how many units do you think you need to sell right now?
To start what? I'm sorry.
How many units do you think you need to sell for this first round?
Oh,
how many are you manufacturing? You said you've got a bunch coming out.
Oh yeah. So we're selling for partners exclusively. That's in July, but that's only for partners who want to integrate with the TVs or set-top boxes, and that we're doing like a 50 kit, and each kit is 10 devices. This is not for the consumer. For the consumer, we're doing in fall, and we're taking pre-orders right now. So if you want, you can go to hellonod.com and just pre-order, and we'll ship in fall.
Okay. Thank you very much, Anush.
Thank you.
So the next presenter will be Rogowski, CEO of Waygo.
What? Oh, no. Cool. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Rogowski. I'm the CEO of Waygo. We build instant visual translation on your smartphone. So let's start out with talking about my first time to China. So I had just gotten in the taxi from the airport and barely made it to my hotel. And I was starving, so I went to my first Chinese restaurant. And I asked the waitress in English, I was like, what should I eat? And she tells me, Waygo ran zongshi che gongbao jiding. And the only thing I sort of recognized was gongbao was like kung pao. And so I ate kung pao chicken every day for that month because I was so scared of anything else. And then I quickly realized that this wasn't a problem just of mine, but it actually affects a ton of people who go and travel internationally. So I decided to build Waygo. So Waygo, it simply lets you hover your smartphone over foreign text and see translations in real time instantly appear below. You can do it in single line and see pronunciations, or you can do it in multi-line, as you see here, and see translations appear. It works in Chinese and Japanese right now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So now imagine if you had this in something like eyewear. Maybe a Google Glass. Google Glass may not be the best use case for it, but this is actually a prototype that we built in a hackathon for running Waygo technology on Google Glass. So it's pretty exciting if you think about the future and what are some very practical, amazing use cases that wearables can serve. So how do we make this possible? Well, it's made possible because of our patent-pending technology. We've built everything in-house, from the recognition engines, the text recognition, all the way to the translation engines are all built in-house. And that's what allows it to operate so smoothly, which makes it instant, so you get immediate feedback, but also, and more importantly, that it operates entirely offline. So as a traveler, you don't incur ridiculous international data roaming fees for translating with Waygo. And people are loving it. So this past year on our Chinese iOS app, we had over 1 million translations by our users. And since then, we've just expanded to Android and Japanese. And now we're seeing, on average, our users making 3,100 translations per day. And big brands like Lonely Planet have said the app is amazing, and we've been listed on a number of travel top app lists out there. We've been covered in a number of press, which has been very helpful in getting the word out about the technology and the fact that it exists, and it's something that can really solve a need for travelers. So how do we make money? Well, there's a freemium model. So you download the app and you get a free trial of 10 translations per day. And we have 2 options for upgrades. So you can buy it for $1.99 for a week if you're just going on a short trip, or you can buy $6.99 per language for unlimited use for a lifetime. And we're already able to serve 14 million English-speaking travelers to China and Japan per year. But it's not just those travelers. We're also looking at the entire travel market. So over 500 million people are traveling internationally per year to countries where they don't speak the local language. So who's behind it? Well, we have 4 amazing engineers with over 10 years of computer vision experience, and a couple members on the team that are amazing translators who have actually been doing professional translation for over 5 years. So we've got an amazing background on the team. We've got a fairly great set of investors. We did an angel investment round last year from a couple groups, including 500 Startups and Angel Vest. And yeah, so like I said, we've just launched our Android and Japanese versions. Now we're actually hiring. Since launching Android, we've learned that it's a lot of work to support, so we're looking for more developers. So if you're interested, come talk to me afterwards. And yeah, thank you.
So I'm going to ask this just to get it out of the way.
Sure.
But if a company like Google bought a company like WordLens,
yeah,
which they did, right?
Right.
How does that affect you? And are there ways in which you think that that doesn't matter, or that you would need to pivot with your technology, or?
Yeah, it's a great question, and definitely something that's a reality for us. For one, I think it's actually pretty exciting because it shows proof in the value of the technology. Both WordLens and Waygo are generating paying customers, so we're seeing that there's a value add. People are downloading it, using it, reviewing it. In terms of what Google has, they've focused on Western languages, and we've chosen to focus on Asian languages first, which has been partially because that's where we see the highest cultural barrier, but also the algorithms are much different there, and so we're still the only ones doing that, and there's a lot of potential for expansion there and addressing actually just the Asia travel market. But also there's a lot of competitors to Google who are interested in translation and wanting to build similar competing products. So I think it's also good news for us from that perspective.
It looks really, really good. The presentation was awesome. How does it work in low light with complex desktop published visual presentations, things at a distance? Is it still highly functional, or?
Yeah, so it depends on the use case, and those are things we're addressing continuously and improving. We just pushed an update for improving low contrast recognition, so that's something we're hoped to have solved. But there's some use cases like in Asian languages, there's a style of writing called calligraphy that's essentially cursive in English that the app doesn't really work on. And then depending on the complexity of the background, if the scene is very complex, then it does have trouble. But a lot of times the use cases that we're addressing are signboards or menus or shopping receipts, places where the app does do well. I think one of the biggest challenges that we're working on addressing now is the small text, because we found a lot of use cases are smaller items, like receipts can be printed in very small fonts, which can be a challenge with pictographic languages. But yeah, I would say overall it works 90% of the time on food menus, probably 70% of the time on other stuff like signs and shopping and brands and logos.
If you're about to order, once it figures out what it is, does it pronounce it, or do you have to point to the item for the waiter or waitress?
Right now you have to pronounce it, but it's a widely requested feature, actually, to hear the pronunciation. So.
Right, because then if you're at a table and you're ordering off a menu, you have to put your phone down, put your finger there.
Oh, you can pause the app actually and show.
So you have
Yeah, you can pause it and then show it to the waiter or whoever you may want to demonstrate to.
And one other question. How is your growth right now? You have traction, obviously, and, I imagine, is there any evidence of, every day more people use it today than they did yesterday, even if it's just a small amount? Is there any evidence of that kind of, growth?
Yeah, we've had steady monthly growth. I could get back to you on exact numbers, but we've definitely seen Android launch significantly increased volume of users, and as we've pushed out updates, we've been seeing more and more engagement with the translations. Yeah, so we can talk specifics offline if you're interested. Yeah.
Is 70% translation accuracy good enough? And if you're being misled by street signs 30% of the time, isn't that a reason for people to get disenchanted?
It depends on the user. If you look at our reviews, you can see some people are, there's polar opposite reviews. Some people will have amazing experiences, some will not. And for us, we have to manage improvements in the algorithm and also positioning the product in a way that users understand how to use it best initially, so we can prevent those unhappy customers.
I'm very impressed you've done all that in-house with your own translation technology, given that translation was, of course, it's the holy grail. It's such a difficult thing. But I'm guessing you focused on shorter phrases. You're not going to translate newspaper articles.
Right. We focused on travel context. So in a lot of cases, our travel translations perform better than Google Translate if you do side-by-side comparisons in front of users. Yeah.
Just looking down the road, how much more compute power would you need to just literally translate everything you see rather than just focusing the camera on that one, small area of acuity?
I think it may be something that's possible with improved GPUs, improved processors. Another area is the battery life. So doing a lot of processor iterations can run down the battery quickly. But yeah, as technology gets better, we will be able to do better and better translations. Back with just the iPhone 2 or 3G, it could barely do multiple lines at once. That would take maybe a couple seconds, which felt like forever. And now with an iPhone 5, it's almost instant, and you can even do, I can show you later, a whole menu is pretty fast as well within a split second. Yeah.
One last question. Do you guys do QR codes for marketing? So, how do people find out about it? How do they, it seems like a very obscure, unusual app. How is someone going to, at that moment of need, know that this thing exists? And
yeah, that's another challenge we're working on. Some of the ways that for growth that have been working have been search and placement of the product in areas where we match the customer. If they're going to Japan, for example, maybe they're searching Japanese translator or phrasebook or stuff like that. So focusing on search has been helpful. Also just press and getting the general word out to communities that we think fit our target market. Yeah, but we're looking for partners as well. That's something we're doing this year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Cool, thanks guys.
So now we are welcoming on stage Jean-Michel Fournier, CEO of BitGym.
We have a technical problem that we are fixing. Okay, so they are working on the technical problem. Before we start the clock, I have 2 or 3 questions to ask. So how many of you exercise at least 3 times per week? Come on, guys. Oh, quite a lot. We are in California. So how many of you love to exercise on a treadmill? Okay, I see a few. So how many of you, the one who love to exercise on a treadmill, think that working out on a treadmill is the best part of your day? Okay, so that's BitGym. So what we want to do on our side, our mission, is really to transform cardio exercise to make it an exciting and addictive part of the day. So all our mission, all our development is all around about how we can improve this experience versus just being bored and being distracted by your TV. So you think you could work? So we've done some extensive research the last 18 months to understand, in a technology point of view, as well as in terms of behavioral change, how we can influence people to get more enjoyment regarding exercising. And following up this analysis, what we really looked at is developing a full solution that help people to exercise better. So we are using all the hot trend, which is the quantified self. So we develop a technology with the camera where we capture your movement when you cardio exercise. So when you are on a treadmill, when you are on a bike or on elliptical, all the time you generate the same movement. So we analyze this motion with the camera, so we have a patent pending technology, and we convert this motion with our algorithm into a cadence. And we have a 98% accuracy in terms of the cadence number. So that's pretty cool that we have the cadence. More importantly, we create an interactive environment now between the real world, the exercise, to a more virtual environment. So let me show you a 1-minute video about what we've done.
Cardio machines don't have to be boring. With the BitGym app, you can exercise on the most beautiful trails on Earth. BitGym works on your existing bike, elliptical, or treadmill. Just place your phone or tablet, launch the app, and select your workout. All of the tours in our library are speed interactive. That means they progress as fast as you exercise, motivating you to keep your pace up. There's no extra hardware to buy or configure because the app simply uses the front-facing camera on your tablet to track your exercise motion.
So what we've done was first to create a full immersive environment. So we recorded some very high quality 4K and 6K videos, 30 to 45 minutes, to create this immersive environment with high quality. So right now in our mobile app, which is Android and iOS, we have around 40 high quality and iconic destinations. And we are adding one more every week to keep the entertainment level. The second level, what we are doing and what we announced actually yesterday, is to integrate augmented reality elements. We call that the incentive-based reward into the videos. So think about a fully immersive environment, very high quality, and now you have some interactive elements that you need to catch, motivating you to accelerate and slow down. So it gives you the feeling of having an interval training, which is extremely valuable for a cardiovascular exercise, as we all know. So in terms of business model, it's a very straightforward business model, where we have the content generation. So we work with a video producing company all around the world, and we have a revenue sharing model. So we have a quality chart about what we need in terms of quality and the level of quality that we need, the level of resolution that we need for our videos, and they do the shooting all around the world. And for us, like I said, it's a revenue sharing model, so we don't have any payment up front. The other part is really the interactivity and the connected technology. So we have the tracking elements with the camera, with our patenting technology, number one, but we also are integrated into being able to do projection with Apple TV on AirPlay, working the development on Roku, and being able to be integrated with companies like LG as well as Samsung, since they want to really eliminate the intermediary and have more and more connection directly from the smart device directly to the TV. In addition, it's very interesting for them because they are looking more and more into 4K and 6K content that they don't have, and we are, I could say, the only company who are able to provide this type of quality to date. In terms of the fitness program, so we have Dr. Kevin Fair, who is part of the team and is a specialist in stress management and mind and body healing. And we are working on developing some coaching program to help people to feel better and to work out better. So what we are hearing from we have a customer advisory board of around 125 users that we are doing a lot of A/B testing. And we got a lot of positive response regarding providing instruction, how to breathe, how to feel, how to exercise, but also really around the stress management. How do we help them in terms of stress relief? How do we help them in terms of improving their mood and so on and so forth? So we are really working on the mental health side, which is pretty much half of the team experience. And in terms of content distribution, so it's a premium model. So we are on the App Store, on Google Play, and so on and so forth, on Amazon. And we have a freemium. We provide 2 videos for free per month, 2 video sessions. And after that, it's a subscription service at $7.99 per month. And we provide also video a la carte, so you can buy some package to be able to capture the impulsive buyers who want to buy right away. And the last one will be upselling the coaching programs. So in terms of distribution, very quickly, so we have a 3-tier distribution model. A direct-to-consumer, so we've done a lot of testing with Facebook, which worked fantastically for us because we are targeting really the baby boomer segment who are working out mostly for health reasons and exercising from home, as well as a 40-year-old woman. So we've done a lot of testing. Our customer acquisition cost is extremely reasonable compared to our lifetime value. The second distribution model is really the cardio equipment provider. So they are all over us because today they are extremely good at doing software, but they really suck in terms of selling an experience and selling software. And they spent a lot of money all over the years around that. When they see our capability, when they see a Berkeley-based company with a lot of developers and being passionate and having the experience, the technology experience, they love us, and they want to do more and more integration into into their equipment. So we are right now in negotiation actually with 4 of the largest equipment providers out there. So just to tell you, in terms of market, it sells around 4 million cardio equipment per year in the US, just in the US. 2/3 of that is the home. It's a significant market, and the average usage is around 3 months. So experience is very important in this case. And the third one is the healthcare ecosystem. So I'm coming from United Health Group. I was leading the analytic group at United Health Group. And employers and health plan are also very important for this business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
I'm done.
Fantastic presentation.
Yeah.
What's the fallout rate? You people look at this and they say, yes, this is great, and they start using it. Do you have data on how long they keep using it for?
Yes. So we launched the version in November last year. So we have around 1,600 weekly users on the platform. So right now what we are seeing, so we don't have the augmented reality part on the video, is that people are being better engaged in the platform. They get on, they stay working out on a regular basis. On average, they use the platform around 2.5 times per week right now. So I don't have enough data to say, well, are they dropping after 1 month, after 2 months? We don't know yet. We are too young in the approach. However, what we are seeing in terms of feedback we are getting from the user is that they get pretty passionate about the engagement, and they want to do more.
One question more. It's okay.
Yeah. So it seems like content's actually going to be a pretty significant cost and bottleneck at a certain point here, right? Because you have people who might want to actually get more than 2 a month. Do you have any plans for that, or is there any way you can distribute that cost, or is that all going to be stuff that you have to do?
Well, in terms of, there are several different levels of content. So there's a video content, that's the first one. So it's a revenue sharing model, so it doesn't cost us anything up front. And after, it's a percentage of sales. So it's what we are negotiating with the video producer. So that's number one. Number two, it's the bandwidth cost, because for each video that's being done, there is a cost by bandwidth. So we need to integrate that part of our customer acquisition cost. And the third one will be the coaching. So what we believe coaching is all about personalization, and in this case, we want to sell the program, upsell the programs for the users.
How long have you been in the marketplace for?
So we launched the product beginning of November on iOS. So we are fully stable on iOS, and we've done Android in December. So now we are fully stable on Android as well.
And you have 1,600 users?
Weekly user, yeah. So we've done around 200K of revenue last year, and we are seeing some very significant growth in our business right now. So what we believe is really touching the cardio equipment, because cardio equipment providers are on top of the pyramid. So think strategically, if we can integrate into all the equipment providers, well, it goes down right away. And we see a significant interest from the equipment provider on one side to really sell a different experience to their users. And they are in trouble right now because there is a transformation, a disruption in fitness, and they don't know how to react from it because they are very hardware focused.
Okay, sorry. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
No, we do. You have to go. You can go on 5 minutes. That's fine. Don't stress out. That's fine.
So while I'm setting up here, if you liked Jean-Michel's BitGym and you bought a treadmill, how do you know it's going to fit in your home? I'm George from InsideMaps, and our business is in helping people see if their furniture is going to fit in their home before they buy it. We are addressing a $100 billion market, where 50% of that market Great, thank you. Good, thanks. So let me, good. We've done hundreds of homes in the US and Canada. We're still in trial. But again, we're in a business to help people visualize furniture and see if it fits and if it matches their home. The challenge that people have is that they never know if something's going to fit in their home. This is a risky kind of proposition, especially if your spouse is, if that were a treadmill and it didn't fit, it would be a pretty tragic event for somebody. This might be funny, but again, I was saying that half the spend of large furniture retails is in visualization solutions. They spend a lot of money on showrooms, they spend a lot of money on catalogs, and they actually send people in trucks physically to homes in order to help homeowners visualize furniture. in this $100 billion market, it's a big spend, and there's a lot of opportunity, and that's why our retail partners are very excited about what we're doing. We make it really easy for you to create a 3D model of the home. You scan with your smartphone. We support iOS and Android devices, and you upload, the images are automatically uploaded, and then when you get the 3D model, you can actually change furniture, change wall color, change flooring, and you're able to really reimagine your home in many different ways. So how do we do this? We've assembled a team of experts in computer vision and computer graphics. And we spent 2.5 years developing algorithms and processes that are patent pending to actually identify and recreate doors, walls, windows, floors. Again, everything is done in software. And our ability to do this in software on an app allows us to support, again, both Android and iOS, but also we support digital SLRs, which is the real estate camera of choice for real estate listings. We also are partnered with Google on Project Tango. Our mission in life is to make it radically easy to create a 3D model. There are a lot of companies that are looking at getting into the space, and we want to make it so easy that anybody can just download an app and recreate their home. Huge opportunity, as everybody probably knows. We're excited about our partnerships. We're getting 3D model, or rather models from Wayfair and Williams-Sonoma, and we're an affiliate partner to them, and we'll soon be giving them a lot of customers, and that's why they're very interested in what we're doing. There are huge opportunities in what we're doing, and I'm going to leave you with one last thought, that large companies have modeled, or rather mapped the world outside. Imagine the opportunities there is by mapping the world inside. Thank you.
Great.
Okay, I think it looks amazing, and I know we're running out of time, but if you're mapping more than one room, is it a process where you have to stop, enter in more information, go to the next room, or is it a continuous, kind of simple process to create a map of a whole house?
It's the latter. So we have a guided process in order to recreate one room, and then we automatically stitch all the rooms together.
And how do you tell the app where all the rooms are? Do you walk around and just...
We have this thing called a puzzle solver. No, we actually use dead reckoning, but we mostly use the logic of the home. Doors lead somewhere else. Windows lead point outside. So there's a lot of clues that we get, both from dead reckoning and from kind of the structure of the home.
Okay, and then when you actually map a room, does it know the size of the room, so when the furniture gets thrown in, it automatically scales it?
Absolutely. In fact, we're at 95% accuracy now. We believe that we'll be above 98% very soon.
And how many pictures does it take before you stitch, one room? Is it...
It's a guided approach, and the reason we support SLRs is because they have wide angles, and there are less photos to take. But there's a few hundred photos that are taken with a smartphone for each room. But again, it's a guided approach. You click a button, and it tells you exactly what to do.
Great, and that's in the App Store right now?
No, we're in trial right now. We're expanding our trials. The challenge is that we need to get a lot of furniture into the home, or rather into our library, in order for people to actually use it. And so right now, our markets are mostly in real estate, where the geometric proportions help people visualize the home.
So can you help me understand what 95% accuracy translates to? So, and I say this only because I've definitely been in the position where you wanted to fit something in, you're off by even a few inches sometimes, and that means that the $2,000 thing you just bought doesn't actually fit.
Right. So we are probably in, it's hard to say because it is 98%, but in a large room, we'll be at most a couple inches off. We're talking residential. We don't do commercial right now.
Can you say more about the significance of your partnership with Google Tango? Because I was thinking that must be a mechanism that's going to allow other people to do something similar as you, as it gets more widespread.
Yeah, I was at Nokia and Sony Mobile. What they're doing is really hard. We have one of their devices. It gets really hot. And so I don't think I need to tell people in the telco space that it's hard to go from a prototype to reality. And we love what they're doing, and we think we have to support it because they've generated a lot of this buzz. But it's going to be a while, though, before that is on a mainstream device.
So it sounds like you don't fear any competitors in the short term, is that right?
That's right.
Because you've got 2.5 years of you've got 2.5 years of research behind you.
That's right. There were some breakthrough computer vision algorithms that we developed for this. If you think about how many computer vision people have been wanting to do this, we counted about 400,000 PhDs, and it's one of the holy grails of computer vision. And so I have to say we have two geniuses on our staff.
Is the business model more, selling this as a service to furniture stores, or is it really just getting a fee from the consumer?
We don't want the consumer to pay anything. We think that there's a lot of affiliate models, but there are a lot of people that want to come into the home. And so we believe that by being a good steward, a good custodian for the homeowner, that there'll be opportunities, and that's what our investors are really interested in.
Okay. Last question. Just a technical one, I guess. But so my model, you were talking about real estate people and some of the different people who are actually using this. And so sometimes those are just empty homes. Does this work better or worse when there's an empty home and no features and nothing to track? Or, I mean,
we support both empty, and I have to say that we actually prefer homes that have feature points. Yeah. That means things in the home. Yeah. But through light detection, through a lot of other sensor capabilities in the device, we're able to reconstruct any home, any room.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank
all
you.
of you. Thank you. So at 4 p.m., you will know the winner here in this room, okay? Thank you very much.